Good morning, Sunny Sandwell. How are you?
Good morning, Lee Houghton. I'm well, thank you. Kind of well. I've got a bad back this morning, but I'm all right. I'm still on it.
You're ploughing on through. That's good.
Come on.
Yeah. Well, this is it. Because it wouldn't be Monday FUNDAY without you, would it?
No, it'd just be Monday.
It would. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Thanks for that. Okay. So we are back on it. So we are now streaming live. And I was going to ask you actually, because we do have a special guest that we're going to be talking to any moment now. I feel so for this is the first Monday FUNDAY that I'm delivering this stood up. So I've removed my seat for today, and I'm delivering this stood up because I think it's royalty, isn't it, that we're speaking to.
I feel guilty now.
Yeah.
Curtsying.
You should. Can you curtsy with your bad back?
Oh no.
I mean,
let's not.
Oh, let's not try then. Okay, so then without further ado, I think let's welcome in the royalty for today, shall we? So Sunny Sandwell, please be upstanding or pretending to for Lord Simon Jacobs. Hello there, Lord Simon.
Hello. I'm wondering what people are thinking when they hear Lord, and then all of a sudden this comes on. But thank you very much for the nice introduction. I'm live here from Buttingham Palace. My road name is Butthill Drive, so that's the pun I just came up with now. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Hey, no, that's really good. That's really good. You nearly give your full address out then as well, which could have been a bit of a faux pas, or maybe not. It depends on the result you want.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Riots, you know.
I'm loving your royal bonnet. Thank
you very much. This is a la lockdown. It's usually a bit short on this, but I've gone with the flow. You know, we'll I'm just going to see how it ends up. You know, end of lockdown
like this.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think this is really interesting. So do you know those apps that you can get that merge two faces together?
Oh God!
I feel like you've merged me and Sunny together, and it's created Lord Simon Jacobs.
Yeah, that's not bad actually. That's a good shout.
That's amazing.
That is funny. Yeah, it's like I don't know how your screens are set up. I've got Lee, then Sunny, then me. So it's kind of like the evolution of lockdown mixed with an app.
Yeah.
It's all a bit wrong.
So, who is Lord Simon Jacobs?
That's a very good and fair question. I am. Well, Simon Jacobs. The lordship, I can go into a bit more detail about the lordship either now or a bit later on, but I'm a Mancunian born and bred. I'm currently 28 years old. I feel like I'm on a dating show. I run a company called Professional Weirdos, which is all about creativity and fun. So that's why Sunny and I get on so well. And I suppose people would say that I'm a bit of an entrepreneur. I've had a few businesses in my time. Also a dog lover, and I'm also involved in a cool digital marketing apprenticeship course. So I'm a lecturer for that as well. So got a few things going on. You know, I never know what to say exactly when someone says who is Lord Simon Jacobs, but those are the things that come to mind straight away. Oh, I'm also a governor of a hospital, which I've just remembered. So a lot of stuff is Lord Simon Jacobs, I suppose.
So maybe the easier thing to say is, what is Lord Simon Jacobs not?
Yeah, wow, quite a few things. I am not a good football player. I am not musically talented. I have absolutely no tone of voice. Regularly, when I've done karaoke, I've been told to stop. What else am I not? Not really a lord, in the sense of I'm not from the House of Lords. I think that probably rounds about all the stuff that I'm not. I mean, there's a whole list of things that I'm not. So
Perfect. No, thank you for that. Thank you for the introduction. And so I guess before we get into this, I think we just have to talk about the lordship just for a moment. So you've touched on it. It's your title that's there. We introduced, just stood up as Lord Simon Jacobs. I'm stood up throughout this whole thing.
I'm not sorry.
It's fine. I give you the lordship pardon.
I'm curtsying under the table.
Yes, I wouldn't want you to harm yourself, so don't worry.
Do we refer to you as Lord?
I That would be preferable, but I'm not going to demand it.
Okay, Lord.
No, Simon is fine, or Jay, or well, whatever you think, that's fine. I think you got to be modest. Yeah, I'll quickly tell you how I got the lordship. It is a very quick story. When I was about 16, which was about 12 years ago now, it was around the time that all my friends started looking at university and thinking about their UCAS points and stuff like that. And I've always been interested in the loophole. I've always been interested in ways around doing things. And at that point in time, I was Googling how to get a university degree without actually going to university. And various other things, various other titles that I could get without having to put much effort in, purely on like a humorous basis. I'd recently read Yes Man by Danny Wallace, and that kind of spurred me on. And I was Googling all these things, and it turns out that you can get university degrees for about $5,000, like honorary university degrees from Kazakhstan and stuff like that. And you can also get doctorates and various honorary degrees. And somehow, somewhere along the lines, I stumbled across being able to buy a lordship, which was actually much more affordable, believe it or not. So you can buy what is called a lord of a manor. And that's like an old feudal law from, I think, the 1700s. Don't quote me on that. Where basically people who owned manor ships, so big plots of land with a huge kind of manor house, they were donned the term lord of the manor. And I think their wives were also lady of the manor. And so some innovative individuals, must have been in the early thousands, realized this, bought an old plot of manor land, which is now probably swampland, and started selling it by the square foot. And I came across it, and you can buy a square foot of land, and mine is at Chelmswood Manor, which I again presume is some kind of swampland, for about £20. And I remember I bought it, ran downstairs, told my parents, said, I'm going to be a lord. And without even a blink, they both looked at me and went, don't be stupid, Simon. And and I said, no, you can put it on your bank account, you can put it on your driving license, you can put it on all the official documentation. And part of them didn't believe me, and also another part of them was like, oh no, not this, no. And my dad, with probably the best piece of advice he's ever given me, said, okay, just don't put it on your driving license. And so the certificate came, and I put it on my bank account, which was really fun because my mum had to come with me at that point because I wasn't old enough to, have my own bank account or something. And so we had to go into, I actually can't remember what bank it was. Went in, I had my crappy certificate, which said Lord, took it to the bank manager. He went to the back, had a chat with all the staff and saying, oh, what's this? Could we do it? And he came back out and went, well, we can't put Lord as your title on the car, but what we can do is we can put Lord as your name. And you can get a new car with Lord Simon Jacobs. And I was like, yeah. My mum was stood there like red-faced, embarrassed, sort of carrying the bag, like, I don't know this boy. A few weeks later, the card came, and the rest was history. And I'm really pleased that I never put it on my driving license, because I'm not a bad driver or reckless or anything, but you being a young driver, I was pulled over a couple of times, either for not having headlights on or something like that. And I can just imagine the police officer looking at it going, oh, Lord Jacobs, is it? Come on. So I avoided that, but there are plenty of stories that I can talk about. There's actually something that I've got planned where there might be a bit of radio silence, so I'll tell that story while that's going on with the activity. So I'll save that bit of mystery.
I love it. Fantastic story. That's brilliant, isn't it? And it's something to talk about.
Exactly. And I don't know whether this was my intention, but definitely these days the way I live my life is, as long as I get a story out of it, I don't really mind the outcome. As long as I don't get physically harmed or, end up with a story that's just going to end my life, essentially, with whatever way, I'm happy. I get stories to talk about. And, I think that's a decent outlook on life, at least.
Do your parents still call you?
Oh, my parents have never called me Lord Jacobs. No. There's plenty of other names they've got for me.
Do you ever use your advantage? Do you ever use it?
Oh, yeah. So I've had fly upgrades, I've had hotel upgrades, I've had free drinks. I started a business when I was at university, and I set up the bank account, and I think it was with Barclays. I think because I was with Barclays at the time, and for some reason I set up a meeting with the bank manager. I can't remember why. I can't remember what was going on. But I was a student at the time. I went in my shorts. This was mid-September, I think. Boiling hot. I went in my bright red shorts, England football top that said Lord Jacobs on the back. Had a an even bigger throw than this at the time, and went and sat in the bank in the waiting area with, I would say, 4 or 5 more distinguished gentlemen, shall we say, slightly older, more silver fox, grey hair, suits, briefcases, all that kind of jazz, and sat there waiting. All of a sudden, I'd been waiting about 10 minutes. All of a sudden, the bank manager comes running out, red-faced, sweaty, looked panicked. And I was like, what's going on here? And he went, Lord Jacobs. And he looked at the 4 gentlemen sort of around me, waiting for one of them to go, and that's me. And I stood up, put my hand and went, yep. And everyone sort of looked around and went, what? And he embarrassed, walked me to his office, thinking that I was like one of these young lords. And when we got there, I felt really guilty because he genuinely seemed under pressure and worried, that A, he was late, and B, he was surprised to see me. I went, I'm not actually a real lord. You could calm down. And we had a good laugh about it. But every time I went back in that bank, I always had a meeting with him. It was always away from him. And, it's just things like that. I never profess to be, I never pretend to be an actual lord. It's, the first instance, and then it's the story that goes after that. So yeah, it's really fun.
Perfect. Love it. So the reason why you're here, so it's Monday FUNDAY. We've had an opportunity to speak to some amazing people, and then I spoke to you for the first time actually just last week, and and you introduced a concept called professional weirdos, and I thought, who do I know that's a professional weirdo? Oh, Sonny Sandwell. So then I thought, what an amazing opportunity to bring Lord Simon Jacobs and Sonny Sandwell together, director of Fun, and we talk about professional weirdos on Monday FUNDAY. It all just kind of linked together, I thought, quite nicely. So what is professional weirdos, and is Sonny Sandwell a professional weirdo?
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for the question. I mean, I don't even have to go into any explanation because I will say that yes, Sonny is a professional weirdo. That's prior to actually meeting her. I'm just looking at her profile, but also we had a chat the other day, so I can confirm. Oh, absolutely. And I'll for anyone listening, I'll explain why it's a compliment to be a professional weirdo. So, the context: I left a corporate job. There's a bit of backstory before that. I had a few businesses of my own, doing things a bit differently. In this corporate role, again, I did things a bit differently, and I eventually got a promotion. And after that promotion, I was no longer encouraged to do the weird and wonderful stuff that I was doing up to that point that had got me that job. And I left, and after a bit of exploring for about 6 months, doing weird and wonderful things, a friend of mine said to me, as I was discussing what I should do next, a friend of mine said, "Simon, you're a bit weird." To which obviously I recoiled slightly and asked her to exaggerate, expand. And she said, yeah, if you look back at all the things you've done to date, the weird and wonderful stuff, they're the reasons for your success. In inverted commas, however you want to define success, obviously. But after a bit of reflection, I sort of looked at these things and said, yeah, okay, there must be some value to it. And if I can bottle it in some way, maybe I could sell it. And so I look back at myself and try to find out how I became this person, in inverted commas, how I became the person that does and did these wonderful things. And it was kind of like a step-by-step process that I eventually became this person that was creative enough to come up with these things, but more importantly, confident enough to put them out there. So you can have all the creativity in the world, but if you aren't able and don't have the confidence to put those things out there, you're going to struggle. So I created a Facebook group called Is the World Strange or Am I? In pursuit of finding other people who are like me, quote unquote. And slowly but surely came up with the concept of Professional Weirdos, which was kind of like a training company to help people become more creative. So creativity is a tool. Creativity is like a muscle almost. The more you do it, the better you get at it. People say to me, I'm not at all creative. That's not true. We think of creativity in terms of art and drama and stuff, but you can be creative in all different aspects. You just have to work at it. And then also the training is also about, as I said, utilizing it and being able to put it out there and have the confidence to put it out there in the right way. And so since that's set up, it's been workshops, talks, consultancy to help companies and individuals with their creativity and new ideas, innovation. And since lockdown, there's a new thing called Professional Weirdos Lunchbox, which is sort of hour-long sessions, which are a bit more fun for team building. So you can do knitting workshops, you can do virtual art museum tours, anything to get people out of their comfort zones and sort of bored of looking at a screen for hours at spreadsheets. But a professional weirdo in my mind, as you asked, so there's two definitions. There are people who do things that are weird professionally. So, for example, I've got a friend who runs the London loo tours, so that's the public toilet tour, which is one of the best things I've ever been on. And actually, that was something that I stumbled across while I was having the 6-month break. And it was kind of like a eureka moment on me. It dawned on me that this person was making money doing the tours of public toilets around London. So she is doing that professionally. So she is a professional weirdo in that sense. And then there are people who are weird, but doing a quote unquote professional job. So such as myself in my corporate role, I was a bit of a weirdo, a bit of a maverick, but I was doing a professional job. So therefore you're a professional weirdo. And then there's myself, and actually I would say Sunny, who are professional weirdo squared almost.
I love the idea of the loo, doing the loo tour.
Genuinely, I saw it advertised somewhere. I messaged from my friends, say, "What do you think?" I didn't even get replies from them. So okay, I'm going by myself. Turn up at I think it was ironically, I don't know whether they planned it. It was Waterloo station. She's there, stood with a plunger up in the air, so you know who to go see. It was me and this Irish family, just us five, which was great actually because they were a really fun family. And basically, she does a tour around central London. She shows you some of the famous sites to do with toilets and plumbing and various other bits. Some is funny, some is genuinely interesting. So there's some historical toilets, like Winston Churchill used a toilet as like a secret meeting room or something, things like that. So if anyone's watching and when lockdown, unlocks down, if you've got the opportunity to take the London loo tour, absolutely get on it.
It sounds brilliant.
It is. It's genuinely great.
We'll have to do that one, Lee.
Yeah, we will. That sounds like an ideal thing to do on a Monday Funday, actually. 9 o'clock on a Monday morning, walking around the toilets of London.
There you go.
I like that. So how did you then get that idea and then go, I'm actually going to run with this? So you've created a community where you're trying to find like-minded people of weirdos or professional weirdos or whichever way around. And then you've gone, okay, actually, there's this loo tour, and there might be other things that's going on like this. I know I'm going to create this thing that offers all of these things to these people. What happened?
It's a good question. I mean, the jump from doing so what happened was I saw all these innovative things happening. I saw in myself that I had these ideas and this way of thinking that I either wasn't appreciated in certain companies, in certain environments, or just what people weren't thinking the same way. So the first instance was helping other people and other companies do that. So that was professional weirdos at its core. And then as lockdown came in, two things happened. One, there were people who do these amazing things, do these weird and wonderful things, and they've been shut down because of lockdown. So the London Loo Tour, for example, isn't running at the moment because it can't run. Same with, as you would imagine, I'm friends with quite a lot of magicians, quite a lot of weird and wonderful people who are entertainers, who are struggling in terms of, they can't put their amazing stuff out there. And I'm also, because of what I did before lockdown with professional weirdos, I'm in conversation with quite a lot of people who run HR teams, various other things, and they're struggling to keep their staff motivated, engaged, happy. And people are really tired as well. They sit in front of the screen for 8 hours a day, and kind of lose track of the day. The blurred lines happen. You start work at 9, and then your computer's there, so you can check your emails at 10. So people need an hour to just take their minds off stuff. If not just for mental health, but also for innovation, to be able to think of things. You need stimulus, but you also need time for your brain to sort of relax and do things outside the box. And so I kind of coalesced, and my mind sort of pulled these two things together and realized that I've got this array of people, I've got this array of activities and facilitation and tools. Why not bring them together under sort of one platform and offer companies the chance to pick and choose, maybe have a bit of randomization so you don't know what you're getting one week. And it's just a chance for them to take an hour out of their day, bit of team building as well, so you can have a chat behind, what on earth are we doing today, sort of a thing. Maybe you can pick up a different skill. So that's kind of where the idea came from. People talk about this sort of spark of when a new idea comes, and I suppose in a way that's what it was like. But I wouldn't want people to take away that you have to wait for the spark to come up with things. because you actually have to fill your mind with these possibilities in order for them to come together. So it's less about the spark; it's more about fueling it to begin with. So
Perfect.
yeah,
love it, love it, love it, love it. And I believe you've got something prepared for us today.
Yeah, so I've got two things that are kind of the general things that we do in the Professional Widows workshop. So they're the easy starters. There's one thing which is about creativity, and as I said just before, creativity isn't about having that immediate spark. Those sparks come from doing a bunch of different things. So it's about quantity, not quality, most of the time. So the first activity that I've got is called 30 apples. I don't know if either of you have ever done it before. No? Oh, that's great. It's a bit of a shame when people have done it before, and you'll see why in a second. But this is about quantity and not quality. So we'll go through that, and then I've got another quick activity which I've prepped you both for. So for those watching, you can also play along at home. All you need is a piece of paper and a writing implement of some kind. You can have a pen, a pencil, a crayon, whatever. And so the first thing to do with your piece of paper, doesn't matter how big or small it is to create 30. Can you see that? I can only see part of my screen. Is to create 30 squares. So 5 by 6.
That was going to be my question. How many lines have you got going down, and how many going across?
5 by 6. It's funny. I've run this workshop in the real world. I've run this activity in the digital space, and I always think the challenging bit is the next bit. But actually, most people struggle with the 30 lines. Yeah. So it doesn't matter how big or small they are. It doesn't matter if you get them right or wrong. It could be 20 lines. It doesn't just as many boxes as you can create, up to about 30. So while there's a bit of dead air while Lee and Sonny are drawing their boxes, I'll give everyone else watching some time to do it as well. Let me know when you're ready. Lovely.
I'm good.
How are we doing, Sonny?
Yeah, I'd actually drew more, but that's all right.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's absolutely fine.
I bet you used a ruler as well, Sonny, didn't you?
No, I wish I had done though. It's not the neatest of things, but.
Oh, have you got massive hands or really small paper?
I've got a little post-it note.
Oh, you have, yeah.
You said any times.
Yeah, it's absolutely fine. There's absolutely no right or wrong. So the challenge is, and I'm going to get my phone out. So the challenge is you've got 5 minutes. Actually, I'm going to make it a bit quicker, actually, to keep it a bit snappier. You've got 3 minutes to draw as many different apples as you can.
Different apples.
As many different apples as you can. And that is the end of the rules. It's the end of the explanation. I will also play along, but I will be cheating because I've done this before. You'll see in a second. So, can you guys see that timer at all?
Oh yeah. So Lord Simon, do you only play games you can win? Is this the?
There is no winning. There is no winning in this.
I don't want to play. No,
You're all, okay. Fine. We're all winners.
Yeah, perfect.
So you've got 3 minutes, start from now, to draw as many different apples as possible.
Okay.
Ready? Go. So while we're doing this, to break the radio silence, I'll tell another lordship story. So where shall I start? So it was about a month or two after I got the lordship thing, and I was going on a youth trip to New York. And we were up to the last week of the trip, and so the leaders of the trip told us to gave us some tasks to do, basically things like get as many pictures in as many different Starbucks as possible. What else was there? Meet a celebrity, get a picture on the stairs that lead to nowhere. What else was there? Get a picture of yourself in a hotel suite. Busk in Times Square, and a few other things. And it was myself and about 7 other friends. I was the token northerner. They were all from London, and we'd done all the various other bits. We'd taken loads of pictures in Starbucks. We'd got ourselves into a hotel room. We'd bumped into a celebrity, and that's another story which I'll tell in a second. And so we were coming up to Busk in Times Square, which was quite exciting. We were all a bit nervous about it. We were about 16, so we were quite nervous. But there we were in Times Square, right by the stairs to nowhere, caps in hand, belting out Wonderwall. And I was, as I said, I was the token northerner, so I was really belting it. And as I said before, usually told to stop doing karaoke. But we were belting out Wonderwall, and some people were walking past giving us a few dimes and, you know, a bit of change, probably to make us shut up more than anything else. But we thought we were doing okay, and all of a sudden I got a massive hand on my shoulder, and I looked to my left, and there's this big New York cop looking down on me. And I look up and go, oh no. And I look to my right, and all my friends had run away. So I was just left there with this cop, and he decided to shout at me, telling me that it was illegal to busk in Times Square, and that, you know, I started to think I was going to get deported. I was going to be told off to my, you know, by my parents, and they'd have to come and get me and bail me out and stuff. And I could feel almost every orifice opening, really nervous, really worried. And at this point, I think he probably saw that I was about to have a breakdown. So he relented slightly. And at that point, I kind of had an out-of-body experience where I heard my own voice. Couldn't imagine it being anything else. And I heard my own voice and started going, "I'm so sorry, officer. I didn't know it was illegal to busk in Times Square. I wouldn't have done it if I had. I'm actually a lord." And at this point, his eyes sort of widened. And I think my friends had seen that I'd curtailed the abuse slightly, and they'd come back, and they knew that I had that lordship card, and they said, show him the card, show him the card. And time has stopped. Please put down your pens, put down your writing implements.
I thought that was part of your story.
No. So the next, have you got another piece of paper?
Yeah.
How did it go, guys? How did you find that, by the way?
So
I felt that was a hidden meaning, and I didn't know what the meaning was.
Don't reveal what you've done yet. We'll reveal it. We'll reveal it in a second.
Excellent.
So as I said before, and I'll finish my story in a second. As I said before, the idea behind this is quantity, not quality. So you have to generate loads of ideas. And the other part of this is about teamwork and how having different people and different minds come together on certain things helps you come up with new ideas. So in a second, we'll reveal what we've drawn, and then I'm going to give you another 3 minutes after we've shared, and we can work together to create different apples. And the other part of this is also people's understanding of rules. So with this, depending on which company you go to, depending on which department you go to, different people understand the rules in different ways. So and I'll explain some examples in that in a second. So Lee, do you want to talk us through the apples that you've drawn and how it went?
Yeah, not really. Okay, so
and what was your thinking behind them as well?
So what I'll do, just bear with me a second. Let's see if I can. There we go. So I've made everybody's screens a little bit bigger.
Yeah, that's great.
I've got 7 in total.
Yeah.
So if I start off a bit, so first of all, I started with a red apple, and I just wrote red.
Nice.
It might be back to front this. Then I thought I'm going to be really creative. Now I did a pineapple.
Ah, very good.
Yeah. So then I did big apple. So I drew the Statue of Liberty and did big
very
apple.
Very good.
Then I thought I'm running out of ideas. I'm just going to write green in it. So I did green apple.
Yeah.
Then I thought, it's another type of apple. Let's do pink lady. Then I did some banners, and I did a gala apple.
I like that. That's really good.
And then I thought, right, I've got another idea now. So then I started playing with the word apple. So then I wrote All Saints and wrote a woman here, Nicole Appleton.
Yeah.
All Saints. And then I thought, and then fellas have got an Adam's apple here on the throat. So I got 7.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And it's funny. I've done this quite a few times, you might imagine, and there is always a new one. I'm always surprised by people pulling stuff out. I've never seen someone do a gala apple and actually put the bunting. I love that. That's great.
No pressure.
Well, I feel like I went down a completely different path, because mine just had to go different in each square. So, excuse the scribbles. I've just got loads of different. So I've got Adam's apple there.
Yeah.
I've got an apple tree. Apples in a basket there.
Yeah.
Half-eaten apples there.
Mm-hmm.
Apples with a bite out, which you can't really tell, but
yeah. No, that's great. No, and as I said, people have different understandings of the word different. They have an understanding of the rules, and so it's really interesting to see how different people take it. I mean, two complete different examples. I did one. It was with the same team, but one person drew 30 apples really quickly and just did different marks on them throughout, and just said they're all different now. And then another person drew all the same apples again, but said, I'm never going to draw them perfect, so they're all going to be different. So it's all different interpretations and stuff. And so I'm going to give you another 3 minutes now. I'll quickly show you mine. I was telling a story at the same time, so I was a bit distracted, I must admit. But the different ones that I've done. So I've done an iPad, an Apple Mac, and a New York City as well. I did some apple juice. So yeah, it's just some ideas there. So I'll give us another 3 minutes, and maybe we can come up with some new ones while we're sort of talking. So I'll set the timer now, and then I can finish my New York story as well. So the 3 minutes starts.
What are we doing? Are we marking out another grid?
Yeah, well, you'll need another grid, Sonny, because you did all 30, but Lee and I can carry on. Just to come up with some new possible ideas of apples now that we've had these different ideas shared. So we'll start now. So I am going to build on what was the one that I really like? Gala apple. I'm going to do bobbing for apples, like on Halloween.
Yeah, I've just done. So when you were talking, I did apples and so I just drawn some stirs. So for apples,
I was just about to do that.
Were you?
There you go. See what happens when you work as a team. Brilliant ideas. What else is there?
I like all of the different. I like the apple juice.
Yeah. Apple Jacks is a kind of cereal, isn't it? From America, I think.
Oh, it is. It's also a dodgy nightclub in Chorley.
I'll draw that as well then.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I should have drawn that first. Actually,
don't know why I didn't think of it.
Yeah.
So whilst I'll let you two carry on with the different Apple ideas now that you've had some idea stimulation. I'll just finish off the New York story. So I had been shouted at by the cop. My friends had come back and said, show him the card. And so he was quite excited, and I pulled out my lordship card, my debit card with Lord on it, and showed it to him. And he looked at it, looked back at me, looked at it again, looked back at me, and then he bowed.
Oh wow! Amazing.
Yeah. And he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry for shouting at you. I didn't know you were a lord. I would have, I wouldn't have talked to you that way if I'd known." And he'd gone red faced, and he's really embarrassed. And I said, "No, it's absolutely fine." And then he asked for a picture with us all. And he said, he apologized again and said, "Just don't busk in Times Square because you might be arrested." And then he said, "Have a good rest of your trip." And he walked off sort of with his tail between his legs. And it was only recently that someone pointed out to me that whilst I was really nervous, I was a 16-year-old kid thinking I was going to get arrested in New York. He probably was walking away thinking he almost caused an international incident. And has probably told his family about it ever since. I almost arrested a lord. So that was a really fun experience with lordship. That was my first real big experience of using the Lord stuff. So that was great. So that was my experience of almost getting arrested, but getting out of it because I was a lord. How are we doing on the apples? Any new ideas, you guys? Anything to share?
Apple pie.
Apple pie, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. No, I feel like I've peaked. I like the different, just drawing different apples. I can't get past drawing different apples now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I find myself coming up with the ideas that have already been given now, so I'm copying Lee's ideas. I'm trying to think of new ones.
Well, creativity and creativity is all about bringing, and this is a very simplified form, but it's bringing two pre-existing ideas to form a new one. So, you could create something new called apple pie juice, which sounds disgusting, but maybe you could make a smoothie that's an apple pie. But that's all it is, really. You can take the most simple example, like beer pong. That's taking table tennis and beer, going, let's create something together. So, what you're both doing is creativity. You don't have to. It's not. You can't come up with ideas, without other concepts. So that's that. That's the end of the 3 minutes. Yeah, that's the end of the total 6 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed that. I think that's a really good thing that you can do with your teams if anyone's watching. Just a way to start the day, get people's minds whirring. It's always interesting to see what people come up with. especially if they've not done this before. So that's usually the first sort of little activity I do in one of my workshops.
So I really like that, Lord Simon, because I think what that did as well is, so me and Sonny have never played it before, and it showed that we both thought about the same problem in a different way.
Exactly.
So Sonny went pure apple.
Yeah.
And trying to get the apple and different types of the same apple bite out of it, pieces of apple and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I got, and in the instructions you said it's quantity, not quality, and I was trying to think of 30 different ways to get the word apple in. So I only got to 7 on the first go, whereas Sonny filled the 30.
Yeah.
I focused on having to fill the 30. And so maybe a little dot in the corner, a tiny apple.
Yeah.
It's interesting how different people
absolutely
take isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's really interesting to see once, I do the first version and it's usually about 5 minutes. And then I talk about it with the group. And I talk about people's different interpretations of it. And then once that stigma, once those rules have been sort of broken for people in all those different kinds of ways, people go mad with it. And it's really interesting to see. And so I absolutely agree in terms of seeing how different people think. And I think that's what's valuable about doing like these team workshops, and whether it's your own team, whether it's an insular team, so whether it's a marketing team, for example, or whether it's a company team, so interdisciplinary stuff. So if you bring in someone from finance versus you bring in someone from marketing, for example, I mean, those are the pure stereotypes, and I don't mean to stereotype, but you can imagine the different understandings that happen. And then when you combine the two, you see a lot of different things happen. And I think that's just massively valuable for creativity, but also team building as well. So yeah, I'm pleased you enjoyed that. And I realize we're a bit late time wise. I don't know if we've got time for the other thing I've got planned.
We're good if you're good. I'm talking to myself now. Are you all right, Sonny?
Yeah, no, I'm actually thinking about the creativity side. And, for us, it's in our core values. And I always think, the amount of people that have come to me and said, oh, this might seem like a really silly idea or a crazy idea or a bit wacky. And the first thing that does is prick my ears up and I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Because my business was built on an idea that everybody thought was silly.
Yeah.
So it was built on a crazy idea and good things can come from that.
Absolutely. And I'm pleased you brought that up because, there are so many crazy and wonderful ideas that don't get heard, partly because people have that internal belief that it's crazy and it's silly and therefore don't put it forward. But also there are cultures that don't embrace those things. So that's the 2 points that I kind of try and break, is the sense that, simply by inviting me and Professional Weirdos in, the company is signaling to you that they're interested in these ideas, but also to help breaking those culture barriers down, so that people are more open to it. And it's not an overnight fix. It's something that happens over time, gradually, slowly but surely. You won't even realize it. In 12 months' time, you are providing these crazy ideas, and you'll have forgotten the times where you'll have been sat at your desk and thinking that's a good idea, but I'm not going to share it. So yeah, absolutely. And I think it's great that that's part of your company culture. I think that's perfect.
That's the advantage that we've got over computers taking over the world. That's the advantage that humans have got, is that we can be creative, we can think differently. And, and certainly for companies, if they want lots of robots working for them, all doing the same thing and all thinking the same way, then it's computerized, isn't it? But exactly. I'd rather embrace the creativity with people.
Exactly. And when you look at the jobs that parents typically want kids to have, lawyer, doctor, accountant and stuff, especially accountants and lawyers, those jobs are going to be the jobs that they currently do are going to be defunct in a few years' time when AI takes over, because they'll be able to read all the laws back to front. They'll be able to find the breaks in them. And accounting, I mean, it's already being replaced fundamentally, except for the human part that needs the interpretation. So actually, the jobs that require that human creativity are the ones that are going to still exist. So 100%, you should be. I think it's such a valuable tool, being able to be creative. So, I try and get into as many schools as possible to talk about it as well, because I think creativity and adaptability are the two things that are going to be so important in the next coming generations, because we don't even know what the jobs are going to look like in 10, 20 years' time, because it's going to be so different. So I completely agree.
I think everybody's got the ability to be creative as well, even if it's in a different way. So both you and I tackled that very different, but we're both creative.
Yep.
I think sometimes people dampen their own creativity by saying, oh, I can't do that, or, but actually they just need to tap into it, don't they?
Exactly. People resign themselves to not being creative because either they've been told they're not creative, they've stereotyped what creativity is. But humans are creative by nature. It's just simply the act of walking when you're, I don't actually know what age you start walking. Is it 2? Something like that. Even the act of learning to walk is the combination of watching people do it. It's the combination of working out your muscles. So when you're young, you're creative. You're doing all these weird and wonderful things. Kids are the most creative. They're the most weird. And it's about tapping back into that and realizing that, it's part of you. It's part of that. You're always generating ideas. So people who say they're creative just don't understand don't understand the true meaning of it, I don't think.
I agree. We have it knocked out of us. Creativity, we have it knocked out of us because we're not allowed to be creative. So stop talking with that voice. Stop doing that. Stop dressing up as whatever. As we grow older, it becomes less socially acceptable to do that. And I think picking up on what you said earlier on, Simon, Lord Simon, sorry, I've slipped.
That's fine.
I know. I forgot. I've just knocked the idea at me. No. So what we were saying earlier on about the environment, it's about. So as Sonny says, it's about being creative in nature, and everybody's got it within them. But it's also having an environment that is accepting of it.
Absolutely.
So we facilitate business improvement, and the biggest challenge that we get businesses to, or the journey to, is to build an environment of trust, because people don't trust each other. People don't want to speak out. So we go through a long process, which helps people be more trusting and trusted to share it, because I think that's a fundamental part. So it's tapping into the creativity, but also being able and welcoming it if it's shared, because there's certain leadership levels that when you share an idea, it stops there. It doesn't ever go any higher because they don't want to take that crazy idea north.
Exactly.
No, I think it's well exciting what you're doing. Exciting what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So did you have something else for us?
Yes. So I've asked yourselves to prepare something for show and tell. So one of the activities that we do in the workshops is show and tell. And there are 2 key reasons that we do this. One, it's fun. And you get to learn something else. Some people bring in skills, some people bring in actual items and stuff. And they share it with the group and you get to learn. And the other bit is team building. So you get to learn something about the people that you didn't know beforehand. So, the preface is bring in something that you haven't told people about really. Try and keep it clean, especially for 10 in the morning, roughly. I mean, whatever you brought in is fine. But the idea is just to share something you're passionate about, something that's of interest to you. And you get close to your team and you get new ideas generated. The whole point, the whole reason that companies bring people in, hire people, is because of their experience. It's because of their personal attitude to life. It's, you're bringing yourself into the job. And if you don't bring your full self, you kind of get that lost, and people are scared about bringing their full self in. So this show and tell is kind of like an easy route in to get those conversations started and to get to know your team a bit better. So that's the activity now that we'll do. Would either of you 2 like to take the mantle and go first?
Yeah, Sonny will. Just before Sonny does, we've had some comments. So Emily and Jane have both said morning. So morning to you 2. And then Mark Warren has just commented and said an interesting conversation, and especially if you're working for a toy company as I do, thumbs up.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So, and I think that's quite an important point, actually, because the toy companies or companies that have play, so like the Fun Experts, is that are more welcoming, I think, or accepting of more creativity, because that's in the final product. This is just my assumption now, so correct me if I'm wrong. But then, like the accounting or the finance, there's a stigma attached to those things. So business consulting or coaching, what I do, there's a stigma attached to it. So I've got a tattoo on my arm, and it starts there because when I first got it, I didn't want it to go there because I thought people might see it, and I didn't want that perception to or the first impression to be, oh, look at him, he's got tattoos. I mean, now I don't care and stuff, but at that point, so that tells a story for me about the journey that I've been on personally. So I think there's a whole host of stigma that we've got.
It's so interesting that Well, people used to say that to me. They used to say, well, it's easy for your company to have fun and enjoy coming to work because of the nature of what you do. I mean, our warehouses are jam-packed with fun equipment, you know, and we go to fun events and, you know, we supply fun, so it's easy. But it's not about that. It's much deeper than having that. And that's why we launched a company called Fun at Work. So it's getting fun into the workplace, no matter if you're an accountant, a solicitor, or whoever. It's everybody should be including this in their day-to-day life. You know, it's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you're right in what you're saying, Lee, in the sense that you know, it comes from the top. In the sense that it's a culture that people set, and you know, that probably puts a lot of pressure on people who run companies. And if anyone's listening as a CEO or anything, you know, it's not meant as pressure. It's meant as an opportunity. You know, you have these people that work for you, and you can build a culture that people enjoy. You know, you can build a culture that people are excited to come into work about, or you know, or work from home. So it's not about pressure to be fun and to be wacky and to be outside the box. It's just to embrace yourself. You know, share yourself as well, and allow those things to come to the forefront. You know, just because you're an accounting firm does not mean that you have to be wearing suits, ties, and you know, the generic stereotypes an accounting firm is. In fact, you know, if you want to stand out, you should do things differently. That doesn't mean that you do things wrong. It doesn't mean that you do things deliberately weird. You just do things that are natural. And you know, that's such a valuable thing. And I remember a friend of mine said that. And this is an example to, you know, CEOs and stuff, and to people who also think that their CEOs, their company owners don't want, you know, this sort of stuff. At what point does someone go, I don't want to smile anymore? You know, at what point does someone get hired at what point does someone start a business? At what point does someone get hired as the CEO and go, okay, no more humor, no more funny emails, no more of this, no more of that? Doesn't exist, doesn't happen. No one wakes up in the day and go, I don't want to smile today. Not for me.
Right. No, I don't want to have fun. No. But it's interesting as well, Simon, because I think something for me that's really important is about forced fun. And sometimes I think what companies do is they'll say, right, we're going to have some fun and we're going to buy a table football and we're going to put it in reception and everybody's going to go on it. And all of a sudden, it's going to change our culture and everybody's going to love coming to work. And it's not about that. Like, that's what I mean. It's a deeper thing. And people have actually got to feel it. You know, it's not something that's just going to gather dust in reception. It's much deeper than that, but it's a fascinating subject. I could talk forever about.
We just had another comment coming from Andy Dobson, who's just said, so in summary, you're an individual just like everyone else. And I think that's really important. Everybody is different. Everybody is an individual. So everybody you can laugh and smile whether you're in a suit or whether you're in shorts and t-shirts or sharkers. You can laugh. And the whole remit behind this Monday FUNDAY thing is a study that was in 2011 conducted by Marmite, who said that people smile later in the day on a Monday than they do every other day of the week. So we wanted to try to do something a little bit different on a Monday, just to try to make people smile maybe a little bit earlier. So that was the whole remit behind this.
I think that's great.
Sonny, you're on
that show and tell. Show us what it is. Tell us what it is. Tell us why you have it. Maybe a little anecdote as well if you've got one.
The hard thing was deciding what to bring. I mean, that makes me sound really interesting, doesn't it?
It does.
So I brought something very recent. It was last year. We got approached by Cash for Kids because they're our chosen charity. And they said, we've got the opportunity to climb the big one in Blackpool.
Oh, cool.
Do you and your team fancy doing it? And I laughed at Nikki from Cash for Kids. I said, me and my team. I said, do you mean my team? Because I'm sure they'll be up for it. Maybe not me. But I put the phone down and I thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Now, anybody that knows me, I hate heights. I'm not big on pushing my adrenaline. You know, I can push myself out of my comfort zone, but when it involves adrenaline and danger, I put my mum head on and I get very protective. No, I don't want to die. So here we go. I climbed the big one and I got a medal.
That's cool.
Are you very well done?
That's cool.
And
do you get out the top?
Got right to the top. I looked at some stats. It's 420 steps. It's Europe's biggest roller coaster and it's 235 foot. Got a photograph there as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
And, you know,
Wow.
It was funny because everyone else was looking down and everyone else was taking in the beautiful view because the illuminations had just come on, so you could see all the illuminations in Blackpool. I couldn't do much looking around, I have to say. I got to the top and I said, right, okay, let's go back down now. But for me, it was such a big achievement that I'd done it. And even at the bottom, every step was really hard.
Yeah.
But I did it and I conquered my fear and I was really, really proud of myself. My team did it and they were very proud of themselves, but for them it was a lot easier. They all said, you know, they didn't mind doing it. So yeah, that's my show and tell.
That's very
awesome.
well done.
That is wicked. So is there a stairwell that you climb up, or do you climb up the actual like thing?
No, you do climb up steps. Steps at the side of the roller coaster. So if it ever breaks, I suppose, people climb off and walk back down. But you climb to the very highest top.
Is that something you can do outside of hours, or is that like something that Cash for Kids would organise as like a thing that like a one-off thing?
No, it's something that they do. They open it up for charities. So various charities book slots. But the problem is, as you're walking up it, it was a really windy day, and you can feel it swaying as you're walking up. And everybody tells you, that's okay, it's meant to sway. Holding on tight.
Would that be a professional weirdos activity going forward?
Perhaps, yeah. Well, we've never done an activity outside of the office. That's not because I've not wanted to. It's just logistic wise, but that's definitely something that I'll put on the list. You know, for example, hopefully when lockdown ends, something that I want to do with companies when we get them booked in for real life workshops is we all meet at an airport about 6 a.m. and we go on a day trip somewhere. So yeah, definitely like weird and wonderful things like that. That's definitely going on the list. That could be fun.
Mystery tour.
Sorry?
Lord Simon Jacobs' Magical Mystery Tour.
Exactly. That's the one. You know, will it be the Lou tour? Will it be a tour of Norway? Will it be climbing up a tower? Who knows? That's all part of the fun.
Yeah. It's the unknown, isn't it?
Exactly. Shall I go first, and I'll save you for lastly?
You can do, yeah, but don't be expecting a big finish. But yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it. Go, you go next.
So I'll have to put on something on my head. Give me a second.
Oh, hey up.
Oh,
hello.
That's very tight. So I'll put those glasses on. I can see.
Can you still hear us?
Yeah, headphones are in. So this is my riot shield. Can you hear me, or is it a bit muffled with the thing on?
Yeah, no, I've got, you can hear you. Yeah, why do you need a riot shield?
So this is my riot helmet. So it is actually a genuine ex-police force riot helmet. I got it must have been 2013, 14. I was in Nottingham at the time, running my first business, which was a student magazine. And as part of one of the photo shoots we were doing like a dystopian kind of student photo shoot. And I discovered there was an ex-military and ex-police warehouse somewhere in Nottingham. And I went to this place and it was really, really weird. It was like really old lockers. There were some deactivated like grenades and all this military and police stuff. And I saw this helmet. I thought that looks the business, and also you never know when it's going to come in handy. So I bought it for 50 quid. And we used it for the photo shoot, and used it for Halloween a few times. I worn it to a couple of clubs. Both of the times I've been asked to take it off because it's deemed as a weapon. And it's genuinely like, if you were to knock it, it feels like an actual bowling ball. So as and when, the riots happen, I'm ready. Yeah, so that's my riot helmet. And it's always fun to take it off because I've got a massive head. And it doesn't fit me properly. So if you'll excuse me for 1 second while I scream. Yeah. So that's my show and tell. There you go.
Very good.
Love it. Because I was thinking when you put that on, I thought, is that equipment that's actually required because people don't like you doing what you're doing, and being a professional weirdo isn't a good thing?
It's part of my sales process. You go in, you shake a few things up, get ready for some tear bombs and stuff.
Gotcha. So is it my turn now?
Yes, please, Lee.
For the finale, no pressure.
bear with me a minute. Just talk amongst yourselves.
There we go. You know what we should have done? We should have made some like guesses and guess what we were going to bring out. I don't think any of us would have got it right. There's no way I would have guessed your climate thing. Here we go.
Oh, how cute! Oh, me, what improvement!
That's incredible.
Thank you. So,
on the mic.
Can you hear me?
A bit muffled.
All right, okay. So I'll just put it on my shoulder, this shoulder, so it can like stare at Sonny.
The sound's gone a little bit.
I think you've knocked your mic or something. Is the mic come out?
Is that better?
That's better.
Right, okay, got you. Yeah, I think. So I DJ'd for 18. Well, I DJ'd for years, and I stopped 8 years ago. And I DJ'd for 18 months in a town centre pub in Bolton. Yates is in Bolton. For 18 months wearing the full monkey suit. So this was it. It was Febrezed every Friday night. So you can watch Jacobs. You don't need to look with the face of shock and
it's just so hot.
Yeah, no, it was, and that's hence the Febrezed. So that was my head. And
wow.
There's a full body thing here as well. So the reason why I did, because I had a bouncy castle business as well at the same time. So I had a bouncy castle business, and the bouncy castle business was called Funky Monkey Inflatables. And then to advertise the bouncy castle business, I thought I'm going to DJ dressed as DJ Funky Monkey and then try to bring David Brent-esque the two worlds together. But whilst I was doing my business improvement stuff, so that was just my hobby, but it was a full-time hobby in an evening. Anyway, so I wore the monkey suit and I said to the manager after 3 months, it's really warm doing this. I said that the first Friday night that nobody asks me for a picture is when I'll stop wearing it for good. So after 18 months, I ended up being able to take it off because every single Friday night somebody asked me for a picture for the Facebook profile or something like that. So 18 months I had to wear that every Friday night while DJ. So there you go.
Wow.
I have known you then because you can get little fans that you can put inside to keep you cool.
Yeah, that would have been a far more pleasant and less smelly experience. Thank you, Sonny. Yeah. Where were you 8 years ago, 10 years ago?
Where are the eyes in it? Is it where do you see through?
Oh, no! I was just about to describe the part of a monkey's head. The ears, eyes, and the nose.
I'm glad I clarified.
Yeah. So
actually, is that like in the distance then?
Yeah. So yeah.
Wow.
The head's here, and then that's kind of where you look through. So
that's mad. Who built it?
I imported it from China for 90 quid 10 years ago.
God,
wow. It's there.
When it arrived, and it was a big, huge box. It was. I was well impressed. And it's lasted. It stood the test of time as well. Yeah.
18 months in a nightclub. You would have thought that's going to get a beating.
Yes. Yeah. No, I know. It's lost its tail somewhere, and I don't know where the tail's gone, and I don't want to start speculating either. So there you go. Wow.
That's great.
The reason why I brought that as well is, so what I do now is completely different to that. So I business improvement stuff, working with business leaders and change people to make their world a better place. Mm-hmm. And people always say, "Oh, didn't see you. Don't see you as a DJ. Don't see you as a DJ." Well, maybe that's why they didn't see me as a DJ, because I was inside the monkey suit. So yeah. So there you go. That's me.
That's great. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the show and tell.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for that. So if people want to find out more about Professional Weirdos, Lord Simon Jacobs, where could they do it, and where would they go, and what would they do?
So I would say there's 3 key places. Well, 4 key places even. There's the website called professionalweirdos.co.uk. You can contact me on LinkedIn, Lord Simon Jacobs. Yes, it is genuinely Lord Simon Jacobs on LinkedIn. You can join the Facebook group, which is called Professional Weirdos. And you can email me, simon@professionalweirdos.co.uk. I will reply to every single inquiry, every single thing, mainly because I enjoy doing it. You know, even if it's a sillier inquiry, I will respond because I love the silliness. So yeah, those are the places that you can find me. And thank you for asking, Lee.
Perfect. No, that's good. Honestly, thank you very much for joining me and Sonny this morning. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you. Sonny, anything? Oh, Sonny, you're over there. I keep getting it the wrong way around.
There.
There you go.
You two there.
Yeah. You got the easy job. Anything you want to say, Sonny, before we go?
I really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed it. Let's all embrace our inner weirdo and our quirkiness.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
There we go. Well, enjoy the rest of your days and your rest of your weeks. I'm going to hit end broadcast any minute now. So, but thanks very much again, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.